Ooh, scary games. Scary games. Hi, I'm Greg, the Masked Gamer, and today I'm going to talk about Dawn of Madness. Ooh. This is kind of a little wing-a-ding. I was playing the game today, and I'm just towards the very end, and I thought this would be a good time to do a review and then do a spoiler-ish thing that you can stop beforehand of what a finale of the game looks like. So it is currently 5:49 p.m. I started this at 11:45 a.m. today. I'm off work this week. It's a long game, so without further ado, let's talk about Dawn of Madness. So Dawn of Madness is massive. You can't even see the whole thing. I have this on ultra wide. I have my little mouse pad on the chair next to me because there's no room on the table for it. I have another end table next to this that has the miniatures. This game is huge. It's huge. One of the things that's interesting about it and that I enjoy is it comes with these 4 different little character packs. This is Lynus the Priest, who is who we're playing as today. And each of the adventurers has their own set of the Wanderers, they're called Wanderers, has their own set of 16 location cards, their own full, their own full encounter book with all of these narrative passages and lots of stuff to read. For the other 3 characters that came with the core game, I really enjoyed the stories. They were really gross. They were really disgusting. Lynus's hasn't really done much for me. It's kind of esoteric. And like the game of Lynus, though, has been more of a game than the other have been, because each one of the characters comes with their own little kind of shtick, I guess, and like extra rules to the game. But first, let's talk about the basis of how this works. So you have these 16 locations around the board. You have these characters who start to, by the time you're done with the game, they amass all of these cards. You can't even see them. All of these cards down here are all like partially character cards that have different abilities that you can use once per round, do special things with. When you're playing with 2 characters, you also get a separate deck of 5 support cards that don't cost an action to use. Along the left side of the board here is an action track, and each character has a specific action mental capacity. And when they move along this track, whenever they do an action, it costs them things on this track. So part of it is saying, what can I do before this monster is going to do this, or that monster is going to do that, and how am I going to frackin' survive, right? Speaking of that, we have all of these monsters over here that have their own little absolutely disgusting art on them and their own little mini AIs and powers. And it's also like randomized what you need to try to hit to kill them. It could be like a different color and a different symbol, and then you gain those different colors and different symbols. Like you can see here, I've amassed a whole bunch of cubes of different colors and symbols, and I can use those plus the results on these dice to attack monsters and bosses. There's also a big old boss in each scenario called the Abomination, which is not related to the story, but it's part of the you pick one at random. And these things are nasty, and you spend most of the first few rounds of the game just trying not to get killed by it, and then you spend most of the rest of the game trying to go through the encounters. But meanwhile, all of the other mini monsters keep spawning all over the place while you're trying to do what you're trying to do. And it's very challenging. It is a hard game. It took me like 3 or 4 tries before I finally got to the finale of a scenario. This one today, I actually ended up 1 damage short of killing the Abomination before I ran out of time to kill it. And I decided, you know what, screw that. I'm going to say I did that extra damage. There's all these monsters on the board. My poor people are almost dead. There's a level 3 malformation rolling around. Each of the characters has malformations that spawn either when they die or the book tells you otherwise. So this is a malformation of the priest with some like giant mookie thing that came up from his back, and it runs around the board and kills monsters and respawns more monsters. And when it kills enough monsters, everyone except for the priest dies. So things are looking pretty miserable for me here. My side companion today is Catherine Little, the butcher, the farmer. She's more of a butcher than a farmer. She has all these little plant tokens that she spawns throughout the game that make other things happen. If you choose to get into this game, it's a strong recommend to do Catherine's story first, because it's the most straightforward of the bunch. Also, I unlocked a ton of really powerful abilities for her to use in the other adventures. And running through the detective story and the nurse's story, I didn't unlock crap. And I didn't unlock crap in Lynus's story today either. So Catherine's kind of become a linchpin to help me get through the game. Now, this is not a campaign game, but there are legacy elements to it. So when you're going through a story, you might unlock items for that character that can then be shuffled into the item deck for future plays, or abilities for that character that you can then put in their deck to level up into as you play through other games. You can also get, when you actually complete a storyline, you get a whole thing. I'm going to flash this quickly so you can't read it. A whole thing at the ending that changes your permanent stats and gives some kind of permanent power or demerit to that character the next time you play as them. Whenever you kill one of these abominations, you get cards that boost you up based on killing the abomination. If you failed a game and you didn't kill the abomination towards it, that whole like family, so like this is the rage family, the whole rage family will get stronger because I didn't kill that, and I have to put a token in a little envelope that's off camera right now that's going to symbolize, oh no, there's a mess of a thing that's going to happen there. So anyway, the 4 characters, I'm going to talk about them really quick, and then I'm going to kind of dive into just playing the finale of this, and you'll see what happens when things go horribly wrong. So Catherine's story is all about she has these plant powers, and there's the whole town is getting sick and turning into like giant plant monsters and crap like that. And all of her abilities are based around these plant tokens and making sure that you get monsters onto those spaces to damage them and characters onto those spaces to heal them. She kind of plays kind of like what you would think a druid is, but she's also like more of a like, I don't know, paladin in like the actual way things work. I don't know. You can't really describe them because these are different characters than like fantasy games. There's also the detective, and his story is all about trying to find out what happened to his wife and his unborn child, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And he can help other players aim at monsters and take monsters out more effectively. There's the nurse's story, and obviously most of her abilities that I've seen have to do with her healing. And her story has to do with her twin sister who is dead or sick or missing or something. Who knows? And then you have Lynus's story that has to do with him trying to, I don't know, do some kind of, I don't even know what's going on in this one. He's trying to do some kind of like, whatchamacallit, like a ritual. He's doing some kind of ritual or something, and like the other people on the island are also trying to do the ritual. And the thing that's tricky about this one is if you don't do enough encounters each turn, you automatically lose. So your attention's pulled in more different directions than it is in the other ones, which is why this one's been a bit of a struggle for me. There's also all these condition cards over here that you really can't see. You get some really, really neat art on the item cards. Like the art in this game is so gross and so bloody and so dark and just so good that it's like the game has so many issues, but I love the art so much that I just keep playing it. Like I said, it took me 3 or 4 times to win the first game. So my death games probably were like 12 hours or so of play. My first full playthrough took about 8 hours. My second took about 7.5 hours. My third, which I lost during the finale, took 6 hours and 40 minutes. And this one's heading into its 6th or 7th or something hour here. So that is my review. I give the game 2 out of 5 stars because it's not a great game, but I've spent so many hours on it, and I absolutely love the narrative and love the art. So if you're into horror and you're into Silent Hill, you're going to want to play this. But anyway, let's get McCracken, and move on to, let's say we finished turn 6, and we're going to be ready to start Lynus's finale. So from here on out, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. If you don't want finale spoilers, do not keep watching. If you don't want finale spoilers, don't keep watching. Do not keep watching. If you don't want spoilers, here we go. We're going into spoilers. So first I need to refresh all of my mental, oh my goodness, all of the mental stuff that's going to be happening as we all just basically die at the beginning of the round. And I'm going to refresh all of my support things and all of my items and all of that. Everybody who's on a plant space is going to heal 1 because I was smart enough to put plants everywhere. And then we're going to remove all of the tokens from the board that signified encounters that could be found that round in Lynus's story. And we're going to start round 7 and flip this over and turn to entry 70 in the storybook. And you're going to see the wording and the story of this one. This is not the best one for stories, which is why it's kind of cool that I'm doing this for this, because it's not going to completely ruin your lives, I don't think. But anyway, here we go. But worry not, seeker. I witnessed it all. Let me show just a little. Here we go. Now you can see my face telling the story. But worry not, seeker. I witnessed it all. I saw you embark on your journey. I watched you traverse the sea. I perceived your torch's flame as you strove to hold it high, even as adversity's waves rose and tendency's tide sought to capsize you. I observed when your search wandered. I examined your wavering pitfalls. And when you plunged into madness, I witnessed your screams, murders, and whispers between gritted teeth. I saw you destroy everything, and then finally I watched you resemble it all again. I perceived you putting the pieces together and mixing them with ashes. I observed you transforming it into a whole new creation. And now we determine the final stage based on the following conditions. If we have a card called Blinded and Seen, we would do one thing, but I don't. If we had a thing called Consumption, we would do something, but I don't. If we had something that said one with fire, we would do something, but I don't. So now, if I possess more Sea Path than Fire Path, I go to ending B. Of course, I have 0 Sea Path cards. I don't know what I was doing during this one. Otherwise, I'll go to ending A. If I happen to have more than 7 light cards, but I only have 1, I would go to ending C. So as predicted, because I have a big old stack of fire cards, I will be going to ending A. So we're going to flip to the back of this book, and there's going to be a whole story to set up what this finale is going to look like and new rules for this finale and nightmares. And I'm going to die really quick probably. But anyway, ending A in the ashes burning. Yeah, of course it's because it's fire, fire, fire. The sun rises over the square of the sacred fire's brick wall. Spoiler alert, I got a lot of fire things at the square of sacred fire that just happened to be where I ended up all the time because there was so much to get done. Anyway. Casting an angry orange glow over the structure's sharp shadows. You turn, watching it as it ascends behind the kindling's head. This is it. After so long spent waiting, hoping, and believing, the day of transcendence has finally arrived. You feel the sacred fire smoldering around you, anticipating the final ember to light and turn it into a raging, conscious inferno. The sun rises higher, striking your face, and the kindlings head simultaneously. The kindlings like some person, like the Wicker Man, I think. Anywho. It momentarily blinds you, causing you to raise a hand as your eyes adjust. Even still, you see the flames of the kindling's pyre rise towards the heavens, followed by those atop the brick blocks lined around it. You gasp, lowering your palm. Then your breath catches sharply in your throat. The kindling rises atop the pyramid, its white garments blazing with flames, and then it descends the stone steps towards you. You catch movement over your shoulder, but don't dare look away as the kindling descends. Your heart hammers like the seas tide in a storm. If only Father Augustus could be here now to see this. Father Augustus kept telling us to set ourselves on fire and slice our wrists open. He was very nice about it, but it was, we did what we did. Anywho, finally the kindling stands directly in front of you. He is your same height, and yet he seems to tower over you. You lick your lips, trying to say something. How strange. Even after all of the changes you've undergone these last days, the reverence the abbot taught you to feel towards the kindling still holds fast. Your throat is so dry. Lynus, the kindling hisses, his voice crackling like leaves in a bonfire. Then, reaching up, he unties the bandages around his head. How long have you wanted to look upon the kindling's face, and now at last you shall. The kindling's wrappings fall from his head, and for a moment the face below them looks just like yours. Then flames consume the flesh, making the hair crackle and smoke as his eyes burst and sizzle. Within seconds, only a charred skull remains. You gasp as you understand at last. The kindling was always you, or at least a version of you. And the sacred fire used it like a vessel, or a host, just as it did with this whole island. You are the sacred fire, and the fire is you, but it's also something else. You did it, Lynus, the flames sputter, just as you always wanted. Finally, you are ready. I don't know why the fire is written like a snake. There's a lot of those S's, but I guess it sizzles. Anywho, things are standing behind you, and looking back, you see the three messengers have descended from their pyres, their posts still fused to their carbonized skeletal remains. The time has come, they murmur. We ascend. The world blurs around you, and then the five of you lift off the ground in a vortex of fire. You, the kindling, and the three something or others. Great. You ascend above the square of the sacred fire, and you look down and see the believers gathered in its open section, staring up in awed wonder. The event is what they've always wanted too. However, as you peer into the flames, you don't feel communion, but consumption. Touching the countless minds the fire contains, you find they are little more than featureless, amorphous globs of consciousness. You find no radiant, exalted psyches, only the charred remains. And this entity is no preserving God worthy of worship. It's a virus. A parasite. We are more than this, Lynus, the voice in your head says. We must transcend and not extinguish. The fire is not worthy of us and has never been. The fiery tornado shifts course, aiming towards its assembled devices. Towards its assembled devotees. They will gladly give themselves to it. In fact, it's what they've always desired, but they are also part of you. Gritting your teeth, you begin to disengage yourself from the sacred fire. You land with a thump on the ground before the believers, and the fire descends too, collecting itself into a single space. You see the kindling gathered with the messengers in the blaze, the burnt offering to a false god. Lynus, the flames hiss. What are you doing? Stay with us. You sneer at the kindling, the messengers, and the sacred fire and say, no. So, the overview is that the sacred fire has embodied the burnt offering, seeking to consume all consciousness and reduce it to a homogeneous afterglow. I mean, I think that sounds pretty peaceful myself. The believers are scattered around the island, fuel its spreading inferno. However, those devotees are a part of you. They belong to this island, and to lose them is to lose a piece of yourself. The burnt offering grows stronger with every kindling it consumes, and to deny it the fuel the believers provide is the only way to weaken it. To do this, you must merge with the kindlings before the fire does. Each time you fuse with one, you gain a fleeting but vital opportunity to inflict damage on this fiery entity. However, haste is crucial. Once all of the kindlings are gone, there will be nothing left for the burnt offering to devour but you. You are in a relentless race against time. Either consume them quickly or be consumed by the raging flames. So we are going to take out the burnt offering final boss and place it besides the board. So in addition to all of these other frackin' bosses, it says the burnt offering, yeah. So we're going to take our former boss, the Abomination, out of the way, even though we still have these 5 other monsters on the board. And we're going to put the burnt offering beside the game board. It has no health. It has 7 mental capacity, which I'm going to have to run off camera to pick up because I don't have these things at the table ready. So let's find his token in the box. It's this. Is there anything else I need? I don't know. We'll find out. So here is the burnt offering, who's going to be at 7. So, of course, everything's going to happen early. If you occupy the same space as it for any reason, you die. Oh, my goodness. It's going to do some terrible things, of course. Okay, great. We're going to spawn the burnt offering on a world shard. It's going to spawn on 14 as long as nobody's on 14. So, yeah. Okay, it's going to spawn at the lighthouse. And now we're going to get to pull out one of the very big miniatures. The very, very big miniatures. I am saying all this, and it's probably not as big as we want it to be. Yeah, this one's not one of the bigger ones. It's just a bunch of skeletons on a thing. I wish I could paint. This game would be so cool if I could. But anyway, I can't. So moving on. All right, so we've got that ready. And then we're going to place a kindling on every space. So basically, what's going to happen, I'm assuming, is I have to pick these up before that picks these up. But probably none of that's actually going to happen. And I'm just going to die. And I'm missing one of these. Oh, because I put 2 here. All right. So there's the kindlings. Special rules. Wanderers in a token space can spend 1 thing to test. I'm not going to read this exact stuff because you're not going to even understand it because you don't know the rules. They're going to test the shard's 3 sentience colors, and they need to get 3 claws. If they succeed in getting 3 claws, they will remove that from the game and replace it with a void token. I don't know where those are. I'll find them when I need to. Then Lynus can test his shard's 3 sentiences for 3 spears, which are wild. And if he succeeds, place a Lynus token there. If he fails, then the kindling's token goes on the burnt offering card. What is happening? Lynus can also complete the first test. I just don't see how this is going to be possible, even if this board wasn't in such a mess. At the end of the action phase, you'll remove 3 kindling tokens nearest to the burnt offering, place them on its card. Whenever anyone that isn't Lynus dies, something happens. When Lynus dies, something happens. If there's no kindling tokens on the game board, something happens. If all 7 Lynus tokens are on the game board, something else happens. And then in the event phase, which is going to be the first thing that happens right now, we're going to summon 2 more monsters onto the board. So this is going to be really quick. Except the setup for this is not going to be quick. And now you're going to see exactly what we mean when we talk about this game being too much, mechanically speaking. So I have to spawn 2 terrors, and it's going to be the sputum symptom and the lobotomy patient. So we're going to put these here. Then we have to go get the miniatures out of the box. Luckily, I know exactly what these two look like because I've been playing this so much, but if I didn't, this would take even longer. We spawn these on 2 different world shards. This one's going to go on shard 7. This one's going to go on shard 9. And then I need to go and get their action tokens to put on the board. And then I have to determine what their rifts are that I can attack them by. So the Sputum ended up here. So I'm going to roll 2 blue dice and 1 purple dice for the Sputum. And so the Sputum's going to get 2 brains that are blue and 1 eye that is purple. And then for the lobotomy, I'm going to roll a blue, a yellow, and a red. And I get blue and yellow skulls and a red brain. So we're going to put a red brain, and we're going to put blue skull, and then I'm going to need to get another yellow skull out of the box because I'm out of yellow skulls. Yeah. So you could see, like, even just spawning monsters is like a whole epic feat of doing a bunch of maniacal stuff. Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume that if you're playing this with 3 other people who also happen to have 8 hours and want to spend 8 hours of their day playing this game with you, you'll split up these tasks and it'll be a little smoother. But as a solo gamer, this game's a lot, even for me. Like, if it wasn't so gross, I probably wouldn't play it. But anywho, the first person to go this turn is going to be Catherine Little, the Butcher, who is surrounded by terrible, horrible monsters, and she's going to try to figure out a way to make her life worthwhile. So according to this, I can spend 1 mental thing to try to do this test on my space, and I'm assuming that's what I need to do to win. So she's going to try that. And she's going to roll what her so she has this little sentience value sheet, which starts with some base scores, and then as you play the game, you get these coda cards that will change her stats. So when she's supposed to test her sentience, this says how many dice she's going to roll. So she's going to get 3 yellow dice and 6 red dice, but I only have 4. And 2 blue dice. So I'll be able to roll 2 more of these reds if I need to, but I probably won't. And I need to get 3 total claw symbols. So it looks like even if they're the same color, it's fine. So this is what I got on my first roll. I have 1 claw, 2 claw, and a sphere, which is a wild. So that's the 3 claws she needs. So now we remove this space's kindling token and we replace it with a void token. I don't know if this is a void token or not, but I think we're just going to say it is. Let me make sure it's the right thing. I apologize for this. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. No, it's like place a void. That's a void eye. Oh, it's these things. Okay. This is a void token. So now there's no more kindling on that space and it cannot be rekindled. So I succeeded. Now Lynus is going to test wherever he's at. He's got 2 yellows and a red. So yellow, he only has 1 die. And so he's going to get to roll 2. And red, he has a score of 3. So he has to get 3 wild symbols in order to do this. This almost never happens to me. I got 3 spheres. That was exciting. Woo! Woo! Woo, woo, woo. Okay. So I can place a Lynus token on his space. Okay. So we're going to put a Lynus token here. So if I get 7 of those, I win. Yeah, right. Okay. Now, the kindling is going to go next. The burnt offering. Its first activation each round, it is going to spend 7 It is going to spend 3 mental acuity, 1, 2, 3, and move each wanderer 1 space towards it. So I think that's going to be closer. That's going to be closer. And then 1 additional space for each 3 kindling tokens on this card. But there is not any on this card yet, so that doesn't happen. And a wanderer can refuse to move, and they would take 2 red damage. For each space, they refuse to move. Okay, well, that was that. Now we move on to the monstrous Manifest Glory. On its first activation each round, the nearest wanderer, which is Lynus, is going to test blue sentience for 3 brains. I've rolled 2 brains, but I don't have anything to spend to give myself that 3rd blue brain, so I can't defend against that. Then I failed, so I will lose 1 health. And I'm going to lose that in this form of a crystal, which is both experience points and can be used as defense. But that crystal goes on Manifest Glory's card. Now, our friend Lynus the Priest only has 1 health left now, so this is probably going to be a pretty quick finale. But we'll see how it rides out. And that took 3 mental acuity. All right. So now Catherine and Lynus can both go again. So Catherine is on another space, so she's going to spend 1 mental acuity to test her blue, yellow, and purple to see if she can pull out another lucky thing. So purple, yellow, and blue. And this always kind of trying to check the colors and check the colors and check the colors. Like, you get faster at it, but there's only so fast you can go. I definitely feel like they could use some ways of making this better. So I have rolled 2 claws because the sphere counts as a claw. And she has a lot of claws on her board, so I can use one of her blue cubes to be a blue claw, which gives me the 3 claws that I need to remove this and place a void token there. Then Lynus can do his test again, which for him now is going to be, because he's moved his space as well, it's going to be 2 blue, 1 yellow, and 3 green. And I doubt he's going to keep succeeding because he doesn't have much going on, but I feel like we just have to do the bestest we can at this point in time. And that's what we're doing. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. And we've rolled 3 wilds, so that counts as 3 claws. So yay. Okay, so he gets to put a Lynus token on his space. We're actually doing pretty good here. So Lynus goes next. So it's useless if there's a Lynus token on his space already. So instead, Lynus is going to try to do some other stuff. And I can also use these, why can't speak, I do, these other cards to do other things as well. So like, for example, if I wanted to, I could try attacking the Manifest Glory, but I really don't think I'm going to be able to kill it. But yeah, I'm going to do that anyway because that thing is nasty and it's going to end the game for us otherwise. So he gets to roll. He's going to attack the Manifest Glory's red skull with 3 dice. I've rolled 2 red skulls, and I also I can discard both of these to add 2 more red skulls to that, which gives me a total of 5 red skulls. Catherine can spend, nope, she can't. She's traumatized and she can't help him. So that's a total of 5 red skulls, 5 damage to the Manifest Glory. So that has 2 life left. So that was actually pretty useful. He's going to use 1 movement point to move to the dormitories, where he can now when I have to remove this red skull from Manifest Glory. So now it's yellow skulls or yellow claws, and of course, neither of my characters roll well for yellow, so getting that's not very likely. But what I can do is flip this card to do a domain action to try to give myself some more domains. So I'm going to take a yellow, a green, and a purple. And I might be making better choices if I wasn't filming this. I just don't want to waste all your times with like analysis paralysis. Technically speaking, I shouldn't have made it this far anyway. But he gets one purple skull, one yellow brain, and one green claw, which doesn't help in our quest to take down the Manifest Glory. Now, I can't flip two of these at a time, so this next thing he does has to be something other than that. So he's going to use this opportunity to try to resolve another kindling token, which lets him roll those three colors. So it's going to be 3 purple dice, 1 yellow dice because he sucks at yellow, and 3 green dice. And we're going for claws or wilds. So we've got 2 wilds on here. He's got a green claw that he got from his domain action. So that's another kindling removed from the board, which is nice. And another void token, since now we can't try that in the dormitories anymore. And now he can try to place a Lynus token there. He's going to roll all those same things again, and now he's going for 3 wilds, which is going to be harder than the other thing, and he's probably not going to get it. So we got a purple wild and a green wild. So you can also always use skull tokens to reroll. So he's going to use a purple to reroll that up, and now we've managed to get 3 wilds again. This is like, I usually don't have luck like this. This is wild good luck for me. I think the game feels bad for me because of how much trauma it's put me through so far. Maybe, who knows? All right. So now it's going to be Catherine's turn. Catherine does not have a void where she's at. There's no point in her getting a kindling while Lynus is on a space that has a Lynus token already. So the question is if she wants to try to run or move or what she's going to do here. Let's see. She can move, counterattack, search. I save the searches for him. I used her domain action already. I used his domain action already. She can use this to restore a health. That's pretty fun. Oh, she can use her lost compass to move 1 space for free. That's pretty cool. We want to keep staying away from that burnt offering with her, so we're going to move to the confessional, and now she can use 1 ping of the thing to try to get some more claws. No, she doesn't want to get more claws. Claws are bad. We don't want to get claws right now because Lynus needs to move first. So what she's going to do instead, she's not going to have moved. That was silly. So the thing is, she has to go until her token, her action token has gone down, because otherwise it's just going to stay her turn. So we're just going to use a regular move to move her 1 space, and that all these other things will now happen. Monsters will always go before our heroes will go. So first, this looks like it's the Sputum, who is over here. If there's a wanderer within 1 space, there is, Lynus is. This can only happen once per round. This is going to spend 2 of its action points to give a lightheaded card to Lynus. Now Lynus also is slowed, so he should have used an additional movement to move that 1 space that he moved before. So how would that have worked out? Oh, did I use a movement card? No. We'll say he had to use a movement card in retrospect, just so I don't cheat. Okay. But he's now lightheaded, which also gives him -1 green, so that sucks. And yeah, things are not looking good for everyone. Now, the other symptom is going to go, which is contagion, which is up here, also within one space. So it's going to give another slowed card to him. So now it costs him 3 movement for each movement that he needs to do. Lovely. Yeah, it's gonna go downhill pretty fast from here. So now for Lynus to move to a different space, he has to spend 3 stuff. But I'm gonna use this, which gives me 3 movement, so that he can just go to this space over here. And then he's gonna spend this to do a search action, since he spent all of his cards, and he found a flickering flashlight, which lets him go before monsters on his space. So he'll be able to do that on this next monstrous space of monstrousness. Then Catherine goes. So now Catherine can actually do her whatever that special action was to try to get another claw. We still need 4 more Lynus tokens on the board in order to win. So she gets 2 purple, 1 yellow. Everything wants yellow in this, but she gets her 6 red, which I'm sure will come up as a claw. All right. Oops. So we have 2 claws so far. She gets to roll 2 more of these. One of those is a claw. So we have found a void on the confessional. And now Lynus is going to try to, with his now reduced dice pool and his worse shape and his bad dice, let's see if we can pull out another 3 wilds, which would be wild. Now I have 2, so I can re-roll this purple. Nope. I can re-roll a red. Nope. And that's a failure. So what happens because I failed, this kindling token in his space goes on the burnt offerings card, and we voided out the space that Lynus was on. That sucks. And when that happens, the burnt offering moves 1. Ooh. Yeah. Moves 1 space towards the nearest wanderer. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, which will be heading towards Lynus and sucks up the offering that's there. So it has 2 now. Oh no, we're going to die. Okay, well, great. Now it's back to our turn. So I can activate before all of these monsters activate as Lynus, but I don't want to do that because I want to give Catherine a chance to do something else. So all of these monsters are going to do their various things first, starting with the boss. So the boss did its first activation. Now its second thing, each wanderer in the same space as a void loses 2 health. Yep. So this is going to be interesting. So Catherine loses 2 health. And because Lynus is in a plant space, she has a card that lets her use her existence to prevent that damage. So she can use her 2 existence to keep Lynus alive just a little bit longer. I'm sure it won't be that long. Now we go on to the malformation space. It already did its first thing. There are terrors on the game board. Okay, so it's going to spend 2. It's going to kill a terror on its space. So it's just going to go ahead and kill. Well, that's which flagellant is that? I can never remember which of these is which. So I have to put this token in the box to see if I can figure out which space it fits in. Okay, that's the third one, which is purgatory. Okay. So yeah, so it's going to kill purgatory. Purgatory is going to explode and kill everybody if it had cubes on its space, but it doesn't have cubes on its space. So it just comes off the board. And whenever the manifest kills a thing, it's going to put another existence token on it, and then it's going to spawn another random terror. And now, in the middle of the turn, we have to go through that whole spawn process yet again, because the game wants us to spend a lot of time doing fiddly sticks things. That's going to spawn here, and then we have to roll a yellow, a purple, and a blue. And it gets a blue skull, a yellow skull, and a purple eye on it. And then we get to find its token over here, put it on its spot. And this is going to now change the order of things because that's now on the top. So bile, if there's no wanderer within one space, so it is going to move 2 spaces towards the nearest, this is within one space. So everything within 2 spaces of it is going to get a weakened card, which is another terrible thing. So now everybody is also weakened, which means they do 1 less damage with each attack action. It's a good thing that we're going to be trying to just kindle stuff. Trying being the operative word. Okay, so now the lobotomy goes, which is right here. There is no wanderer in its space, so it's going to move towards Lynus, who has the most brain tokens. Since it ends in its space, it's going to do 3 blue damage to Lynus immediately because it triggers on landing in the space. So Lynus gets to roll 2 dice to prevent 3 blue damage. He has prevented 1, and our friend, he gets to re-roll a die because of that symbol, which gives him another 1. She uses her last defense, and Lynus is still somehow kicking. This is going to be the end for sure. So this guy is going to move 2 spaces in a random direction towards space 5, which is here. And then he's going to put a green, yellow, and purple on himself, and he is going to take 1 damage, which will kill him, and do 12 plus 3, 15 damage, split as evenly as possible between our heroes. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So let's see if somehow we can survive this. So we're going to give Lynus the ones that he has the most chance of defending against because he's the most dead. So that's 4 and 4. And then somebody needs 4 and he needs 3. So we have 2 of that. And 1 of that. And then the 4 goes to Catherine. So let's first see if Lynus can somehow get a shield on every single result of these dice. And that's the only way he lives. So he's defended 3 out of that 7 damage and has died. Oh, now the good news is, because I am in the finale phase, even though he dies, there's still an ending to read. So we're going to go to entry 77 and find out what happens now that everybody died. The consuming heat. You have no more resistance remaining, that's for sure. So, collapsing to your knees, you succumb. The burnt offering shuffles nearer as the sacred fire's heat blisters you afresh. Then it envelops you completely, drawing you into its conscious inferno. You feel an unsettling connection with life. Connection with life's charred remnants around you, and the eerie calm that follows. Ash-gray faces, indistinguishable yet hauntingly familiar, seem to whisper obliterated secrets of the past to you, murmuring about existences extinguished in flames. The island sifts through the memories of a million lives, each consumed in the sacred fire. Welcome home, Lynus, the licking flames hiss. We are so happy to have you back. Gradually, your individual thoughts fade, leaving only the sacred fire city simmering in your consciousness. The island's scenery transforms, revealing numerous figures in black robes. You rouse yourself briefly from the fire's profound, comforting extermination as a stark, cold vision intrudes upon your mind. You wander through the charred graveyard as the dead ashen's remains encircle you. In a near stupor, you murmur, "Not complete," under your breath. You feel a moment of panic as everything you were, all that you could have been, turns to char in the fire. Was this all your faith amounted to? Is this where belief got you? However, these thoughts don't bother you for long. Shortly, you find the macabre reality holds no further significance for you. So, sighing deeply, you open your crisping arms wide, immersing yourself fully in the sacred fire's warm embrace. You are one with the fire, all your cares, worries, and sense of self are gone, and it feels wonderful. So the Wanderer Lynus is going to gain the finale legacy card called Purified in Fire. There's 3 other ones that he would need to return. He can have more than one finale card at a time. Most people can't, but he can. So we're going to take out of his secret folder, and this is the first time I've gotten to open his secret folder this whole game. Like, I haven't unlocked any of these freaking cards, which sucks because Lynus is still the weakest person in my crew. Everybody else at least got some items in the deck, but he got nothing. None of these cards came out. None of these cards. But he is now purified in fire. So this is actually not terrible. He gets his maximum health goes up by 3. However, at the beginning of the game, he gets a withered card, which reduces his maximum health by 1. So, like, brah, why don't you just give him maximum health plus 2? Why are you giving me extra math to do? Anyway, Lynus has definitely been my least favorite of the characters to play as. That finale wasn't great. But this is kind of cool because you get to see the worst of what this game has to offer. And if you liked that, you'll love this game. But anywho, this is going to be my last play session of Dawn of Madness for several months because all that we have right now is Wave 1. Wave 2 is coming with 4 other Wanderers with their own stories. So I want to wait until that comes out so that I can play more with different combinations of heroes and powers. And when that comes out, I'm also going to use their simplified story edition, which spawns less monsters during the game up until the finale. And they did say that they're working on a save feature, so we'll see what that looks like. Maybe there will be a whole bunch of rules changes when Wave 2 comes, and this game will be a lot more manageable. Because I feel like if it was more manageable, it would be wild, wild fun. I feel like if this terrible monster didn't appear on the board the first round so that it does damage to you before you can do anything, the game might be more manageable. I feel like this whole randomized targeting system to roll the different riffs and the different colors and how the colors and the riffs and the colors and the riffs meld together is much clunkier than it needs to be. Like each of the colors has more of a chance of a certain result. So like your purples have 2 sphere sides and your yellows have 2 skull sides. So what if instead of having the colors, it was just the symbols And therefore, whatever color dice you roll, you know you have a better shot of getting said symbols, which is another house rule that I might bring into play when I do it, when I play this game some more. Just because what I want to get to is what's going on in these books, not all this micromanagement. But anywho, I still really enjoy this game. It's still gotten many hours of play for me. I still recommend it to people who are into horror-y stuff. And thank you for tuning in and watching my review / finale playthrough of Dawn of Madness. Once again, I'm Greg, the Masked Gamer, and don't forget to keep your health bars full